Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. We are your hosts,
Jessica!
and I am Chris Eden. Oh, Jessica. What did
Yes, yes.
it feels like, I can't believe it's been roughly a year ago. We were sitting down to record an episode talking about the announcement of what we're going to talk about today. Now the fact that we're at the point where it's close, it's almost a reality. It's like within our hands.
Yes, yes, it does. I mean, it seems like, okay, last year when we talked about it, it seemed like it was really far away.
Yeah.
And then now that's actually come, I was like, time flies.
I know. It's kind of scary in its own way, isn't it?
It is. Time is flying, but I'm excited to see what they had to reveal.
Well, if you don't know what the heck we're talking about, we are talking about the big news that dropped roughly about 48 hours ago as of this recording, when Toho decided to release the first poster for Shin Godzilla, or as it will be known here as Godzilla Resurgence. And then roughly a few hours after, first off, the internet was like, wait, is this real? So there was a lot of going back and forth because the last few months have been riddled with a bunch of phony, designs out there from, people just like, no, this is it. And of course, like people like August Ragoni have been, no, you guys are full of crap. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. This turned out to be legit, and then a few hours later there was a trailer that dropped, and then today there was some additional news which we'll get into later. First, Jessica, we gotta talk about the giant white elephant in the room that is the poster and the first look at the design for Hideaki Anno's Godzilla. It is interesting to say the least.
Oh my gosh, I almost choked from when you said that, when you laughed.
Yeah.
When you said that, I don't know what your first reaction was to it. I think I told you off air what my first reaction was to it.
Well, go ahead and tell everyone what you thought it was.
Okay, first of all, he did look like scary,
yeah,
right, and like ominous. But I remember thinking, because it was in such detail, I was like, that is a lot of crevices and grooves, and then like just on his skin, like his texture.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it was familiar because it kind of looked like an older avocado. And then, he still had the small beady eyes. I prefer the small beady eyes over the larger eyes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a terrible design. I actually like it, but for whatever reason, it just wasn't what I was expecting, if that makes sense.
I don't think it's what a lot of people were expecting. I mean, I heard rumors that I cannot quantify here, but that, especially considering that Shinji Higuchi was in charge of it, that they were going with a more, as it was prefaced, a kind of Attack on Titan-ish style, which kind of, that's very wide and reaching when you talk about it. But when you look at this, there's a weird, if you want to put it, there's a weird uneasy unearthliness to it. I woke up to this. I woke up and it was on my feed, and I'm just like, oh, whoa, all right. And I simply retweeted him, just like, oh, hello, you ugly bastard. It took me a minute to really kind of sit there and kind of look over the design, and for 10 minutes, I'm just like, okay, this is something new. It's something interesting. I don't hate it, but it's also just like, man, this is so, wow, this is wacky. You know what it was? It's similar to the to my reaction when I saw the suit designs for Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, because those were just so way out of the norm too. Like, it wasn't something I was used to, a little more streamlined. And then when those came out, they kind of looked almost like action figures at first. You're just like, wait, what are they doing? This, I mean, the news that's been coming out of the movie is that, they're going with a very dark, very scary, Godzilla. It's, this is the most terrifying Godzilla you've seen so far. And I guess with the fact that Legendary's Godzilla is just kind of, they went with the full heroic, Godzilla that, perhaps, it was a matter of, let's do something different. We can't have two Godzillas out there. When I looked at this thing, though, it's just there was something that was like kind of itching at me, and it's the weird kind of Joker grin that they put on him, because that his mouth goes way back, and the teeth, there's, if you look, there's two rows of teeth. So he's got the main row in the inside, and then he's got the weird jagged teeth coming out of the front, and he's almost got the Glasgow smile, as it's called, where the jaw opens way to the end of the jawline.
Right.
But it's that little eye, and I know what people are going. I know what they're comparing it to. I know what it's based off, but it's that the little eye and the smile. He looked at first thing that came out. I'm like, where have I seen this? And then bam, it hit me. He looks like one of the Goombas from the Super Mario movie, which is that big toothy smile and the little beady eyes. And I'm just like, okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing, and someone had made a Photoshop of it, which I think was more apt. Do you remember a book called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
Yes, I do.
Okay, someone superimposed this image over the cover of that, and it fits perfectly. Which, if you don't know that book cover, it is the most unnerving thing you'll ever see for a children's novel. And yeah, he's almost creepy molestery looking. And mind you, we're just going off this one poster image.
No, it is. It looks a little bit like a mix between, like, they knew that the legendary Godzilla worked really well. Mm-hmm. Like, the design was well for some people.
Yeah.
But you liked my friends would say, the cross-eyed looking Godzilla that Toho had every once in a while. So it looked like it was like a brainchild mutant mix of them, like spliced Batman Beyond style. That you get something terrifying, but kind of has the wide-eyed, doed type of look from the Toho years, and then you got kind of that.
His eye it looks like he's got lazy-eyed, though, doesn't it? Like, his eye's looking down in a weird spot, like it shouldn't be looking that way. Like, he's got like owl eyes where they can turn like 180 degrees.
Yeah, no, he looks super creepy. He looks like a dude that would like be definitely into like voyeurism. Like that super creep. Or like the memes where you see like the puppies throwing shade and people write something really hilarious on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he looks like he's got like that creep, like he could be like that creepy dude, you know. Yeah, very voyeuristic. Like, it's just like, go ahead. Yeah, that's right. Take it off. Like, he should be giggling at something horribly inappropriate right now.
Yes. Yeah. So I just like it wasn't like ugly. It wasn't like, holy crap, this is super ugly.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, oh, I'm totally in love. I'm gonna get 18 of these toys.
Yeah.
Or when the figures come out, my brain couldn't really process what was happening.
Yeah, it is. Look, I'll give Toho credit where credit's due. The fact that they're letting Anno and Higuchi kind of do something like this, because the way from what it sounds is that it's just this movie's just Godzilla. Like they're kind of redoing the original story, but with a modern take.
Right,
and making him like really just like they're bringing back the nuclear kind of allegory again of just this walking nightmare. So of course you want to make him look as terrifying as possible, and you got to kind of update that for modern times. There is a lot taken from the original maquette that was used for the original suit, but yeah, there's also some liberties taken, and it's definitely interesting. I'm very curious to see what the whole body looks like. Whether or not he's super fat, or if he's got like the big upper body with the teeny tiny like little dinosaur arms, or how it's going to look. Because if seeing this thing in motion is going to be very interesting.
Right. It definitely is. I don't know. I mean, it was weird because like in the poster, he's like looking down because it's not even a bust. Mm-hmm. It's just like a head that hunters would put up on the wall as an animal trophy. Mm-hmm. Where it's literally like just below the neck down, and then obviously it's a sideways thing. His teeth are like too skinny and sharp. Like
there's two
eyes
rows.
Are looking down. They're weird. It's too spiky, almost like a puffer fish. I'm not so sure how to describe it.
Well, I mean, he's supposed to be a mutant, you know. I mean,
yes.
But the thing is, too, it's just like, I mean, again, if you look at the jawline, it goes all the way to the back where the jaw connects. So he's got the whole Joker thing
where the
going on.
words are on the poster.
Yeah. So he's got the Joker cut, the Glasgow smile. So, again, it's going to be very interesting to see this thing in action, and especially considering that he's supposed to be bigger than the legendary one too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I got full faith in Anno. I love Hideki Anno as a storyteller. So the fact that him and Shinji Iguchi are kind of like, I mean, you saw those pictures on the set. They look like they were having the time of their life making this thing. So it's going to be a very unique story, and especially it has to be something good if they're just using Godzilla and they're just telling, because when they aired the trailer, the end credit, I believe, it says pretty much what is essentially translated to Japan versus Godzilla. So it's pretty much like the military fighting Godzilla again.
Right.
And there's no other there's no other monster that we know of, so that's pretty much it. So they have to have something very unique, or they got a unique take that, you know, Toho was like, yeah, go ahead. This is exactly, you know, what we need to be doing to, especially, you know, kind of put our foot back into that water again. So, I mean, it's been 13 years, so, you know, so many people complained about how different that Final Wars was. I'm very curious to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, I am too. Definitely. I mean, you know, other than the Glasgow smile, obviously the Titan smile, some would say, which is appropriate because it's the director. But yeah, I mean, we know very, very little information, and that trailer basically gave away nothing that we already know, which is people running and screaming. That's gonna happen in every Godzilla film. So yeah, I am interested to see kind of how it works out, especially since we know a little bit more for the legendary one. Yeah, at least what the villains will be and everything. And this one is closer in release date, but we know less of. Yeah,
which I believe I was pretty on spot when we were talking about this last year about when the release date. I figured it would be midsummer. This is actually, for you and I, this is like a week after Comic-Con. This thing comes out.
I was gonna say it's an after Comic-Con thing,
which I wouldn't doubt. I wouldn't put it past Toho, if anybody ever, if this thing gets picked up for distribution, that they do something at Comic-Con for it. Like, I wouldn't doubt it, and I got a feeling that someone like Funimation will probably pick it up. Like, nobody's not gonna pick this thing up. It's not gonna be like the old '90s films where they just sat and did nothing, because there's money to be had with this. Whether it's Warner Brothers or it's a smaller label, I'm saying now, I'm going to put my money on Funimation. They'll probably grab this thing. But yeah, right. I need to see a full body pick, and I need to see this thing in action, because they did mention they're using a wide variety of effects. There's a marionette. There's puppets, there's CG, it's going to be interesting, to say the least. I mean, the trailer, which was what, I think it's like 45, 50 seconds, and it's
roughly around there. Yeah,
and it's this kind of first-person view of people running in terror. You get like a huge sense of dread, and it's shot actually very well. A lot of people actually think it kind of gives the impression the movie's going to be found footage. I don't think that's. I'm pretty certain that's not what the movie's going to be. It's just, you're given that sense of dread as something's approaching, because you hear the roar at the end, and it is the original roar from the first movie too. So if they're going back to that again, it adds up to the whole, making him a bad guy again, making him the nuclear allegory. But yeah, I'm very, very fascinated where this is going to go. So, it's so wildly different, and he's so molestery looking. Like, it's so creepy.
Yeah, I'm really interested because, I want to know how creepy his arms are going to be.
Yes.
like his appendages, that tum-tum, because as we talked about, the legendary Godzilla walks like a tired old man who's just slightly overweight,
Yes.
like almost like Obi-Wan Kenobi, where like he's a little bit out of shape but can still kick ass when needed. I'm sorry, Obi-Wan Kenobi of New Hope.
Yeah.
People, not Ewan McGregor. And you know, and then the tail is like a big thing for me, like kind of how it moves and how it's carried. So yeah, you're right. Like we literally can't see anything from the neck down currently. So I'm really interested to see how the rest of his body kind of fits together, because you also don't want to look at it and be like, oh, he looks like four pieces kind of glued together haphazardly. He looks like four different animals glued into one.
Yeah, it's gonna be very. Yeah, I need to see that. I'm hoping Toho releases something sooner. We probably will see something. You know, in one of the one of like the effects magazines or something. It'll get released probably around like February or March. Which I guess is probably when April, maybe when we see a full trailer. Because I believe Toho, when they were promoting Attack on Titan, they promoted that thing pretty early. Like we saw like a teaser trailer that was like 30 seconds for it. I mean, I have actual movie footage. I believe like almost like 5 months out. So, and you know, this is also them trying to kind of, you know, make a statement that they can hang and bang with the Hollywood stuff. So I mean, we got 2 years. We'll see. So this coming year we'll have Resurgence or Shin Godzilla, whichever one it'll go by. Then next year we got the Kong movie, and then after that we got Godzilla 2, and then 2020 we got Godzilla vs. King Kong. Which also I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, wait, does that negating Godzilla 3? That might mean Gareth Edwards only comes back to do the sequel, and he might, you know, shove off to do something else. Which I'm not. I'm actually kind of for. I don't think the same filmmakers need to stay around all the time. I mean, it works in some cases, like the Gamera trilogy, where that very much was a story being told by the same group of people. But you know, it's like, as I always say, Michael Bay doesn't need to make every single freaking Transformers movies. So Gareth Edwards, you know, I don't even think he needs to come back to do the sequel. They could find somebody else. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other directors who would love to tackle something like that. But again, it's just me sidetracked right now. Let's see, so it's 2019. There won't be anything, so that might be the next time we see Toho put something out then too. 16, 17, 18, 19. So 3 years. Especially if they're going to take their time with this stuff. It sounds about right. So we might actually have something every single freaking year. And that's also if we got if Gamera ever even comes out either. So.
Yes, we would be. It's like the Star Wars path, but with kaijus.
Yes.
Where it's like we're just gonna have something to just keep everybody happy because it's making it come back. I think you wrote something on your Facebook wall status is like, this is like the best year to be like an 80s nerd kid or something. It's the best time to be alive because you have like all this stuff coming out.
Oh, it's a glorious future we live in, Jessica. It's such a glorious future. I mean, come on. When you and I were kids, I mean, we were like the last generation that never thought we would see any of this kind of stuff. Like, all the kids after us were just like, the stuff was just handed to them. They didn't know a world where special effects did not exist, you know, that could actually bring, you know, giant monsters to life and make it look super, super awesome. And the fact that it became so modern, you know, so commonplace that people actually got the nerve to complain about it too on many, many occasions and say that this stuff looks like crap. That's what they said about the Batman Superman trailer. Nobody's ever satisfied, Jessica.
I know completely what you mean. I had a friend who wrote that Ant-Man was super terrible.
How
and
dare
I was like,
they?
you know, for what it is, let me tell you, because those people are not Marvel fans.
Yeah.
They like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? As a kid who read Ant-Man, I never thought that she would grow up to see a tiny flying man. I'm sorry, a tiny man on a flying ant. This is all I've ever asked for. So you shut your trap, and I will go and enjoy it. Just like what Green Lantern was. I mean, that movie was terrible. It was not good.
No, it's not.
But the point that actually made my tears well up was when Hal is on Oa and everyone's chanting, "We are the core." And then they light up the sky. Like, as a child, you see Green Lantern, you read it, and it looks all colorful and doofy. But then, when you get older, I never thought I would actually see Oa on the big screen. You know what I mean? And then to actually see Oa, which is the best part of the film, but brief, on the screen was something that actually came alive for me. And then the rest of the film was his own thing. But just the part with Oa was really, really great for that moment. You know what I mean? And I think, like, we live in a world now, like, we get to see Toho make another Godzilla film 12, 13 years later. You know what I mean? We get to see legendary and American company make Godzilla. So I'm just kind of like, yay! We are living at a great time.
We are. It is a fantastic future. Which, side note, did you see Thomas Tull commented on King Kong versus Godzilla, the new one?
I did not see his comment for that. I've been so busy the last couple of days.
So pretty much he was doing some sort of press conference thing for some legendary Q&A stuff, and someone asked him, it's like, so what was the whole point of doing a crossover film between King Kong and Godzilla? And he just, his answer was plainly like, I just wanted to see him fight because I'm a giant kid. That's the main reason we're making
That's
this movie.
what I was going to say. Did he say something about being a kid or just wanting to do it or being a fan?
All three were wrapped into that, pretty much.
Because he is and seems like that type of person.
He's a guy who...
and I know that he definitely stands by what he believes in, like making Crimson Peak rated R.
Yeah.
Or wanting to see two large monsters fight.
Oh, yeah, or making a movie about Krampus.
Oh, yeah.
Which did pretty well. It did pretty well.
Yeah, it did. I think it was #1 for its opening weekend.
Which shocked a lot of people. Like, wait, what, this? So, yeah, good on them. But that's the thing I loved about legendary and Thomas Tull was the fact that, yes, he's a guy that figured out how to make a ton of money. And then what did he do with that money? He went and turned pretty much his toy box into, his business. I mean, look, let's be honest. Not everything that Legendary produces is a home run out of the park. Some of them are just, like ground balls. But you gotta give the man credit. He's willing to put money down on stuff that other people will be like, why? So, I mean, it's freaking Seventh Son, not the greatest thing, but you could tell he had a lot of ambition at one point.
Yes.
And someone's still out there willing to make a Harryhausen style film. So, but for every one of those, you get a Hangover, or you get a Pacific Rim. I mean, who else was going to make that movie? Nobody. Even in this day and age, where it's just like, what can we mine? No one have ever done giant robots fighting giant monsters. You could be like, nah, that's too Godzilla. And Legendary's like, well, we got Godzilla, and we're going to do this anyway. So screw all of you. It's glorious. So. Yeah.
And, and I'm sure Toho, if done right, Toho would agree because they make money.
Oh yeah. Oh,
out of a little bit.
Freaking Godzilla's always going to be a cash cow for them. Like they, even if they don't make movies, they're still making money off merchandising and stuff like that. Which I'm still shocked to this day they never bother to let anybody animate it, like turn it into an anime of any sort. So I'm pretty sure that an anime Godzilla would be extremely, I'm just gonna insane for the most part. Just give it to somebody like if Trigger could do it. Oh my God, the glory that would come out of that. I'm thinking about it right now. I'm kind of reminiscing. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good in my head. Also, on that note, while we're still talking about the new film, they have announced who is going to compose said film. Jessica?
I'm sorry. To let everybody know right now, we're currently in L.A. I mean, I'm in L.A., but Chris is out in Orange County. It went from freak weather, sunny to rainy to windy, to sunny to rainy to windy. Yeah. So I am hearing Chris very crisply until the last couple seconds, and you just cut in and out. So what was your question for me one more time?
Oh, no, I'm just saying the other big news announced as we were going into this, a composer was announced for Shin Godzilla. And it's a guy who's worked with Anno on several occasions, and with Higuchi as well. His name is Shiro Sagi, Sag is Sagisu. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering the crap out of that. Sagisu. So again, I butcher the. I love Japan, but I butcher their names to no end. So for the uninitiated, he worked with Anno on scoring Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes. Yeah.
So
you bring in all your own people that you're familiar with.
Oh yeah, yeah. Pretty much, it's like what Chris Nolan does is with what I aptly call now the Chris Nolan players. Pretty much.
Yes, the Burton, the new Burton.
Yes.
Where you just kind of like bring in all the same people. Yep.
Pretty much. And he scored the Attack on Titan films for Shinji Higuchi as well. But he also scored Ranma 1/2. He did Macross 2. He did Bleach, which I was shocked to find out. And he also scored Casern, which I don't know if have you ever seen Casern, Jessica?
I have not. I've not.
It is a delightful, awesome-looking mess of a film. And I say that with all sincerity because it's still it really drags towards the end. But like the first hour and a half is the first hour is like this weird because it is nothing like the anime it's based on. It goes in a completely different direction, but it has some of the best action sequences. There's one sequence in the middle of the film when the Caster, the title character, just goes on this rampage of destroying all these robots, and it's set to this song by this band called Blackhorn. It's amazing, and the score in that film is fantastic. Though it's got this weird kind of Twilight, melancholy tone to it. It has to be seen to believe. It's a very unique looking film. It's definitely worth your time of watching it. So he will be scoring the next Godzilla movie. So it's gonna be interesting to hear what he does with if he does his own take on the classic score or just comes up with something new. Excuse me. So yeah, there is that. What else we got here? We're gonna make this kind of a short episode for this edition because Jessica and I are gonna come back in about a week and a half after Christmas, or a few days after Christmas. We're gonna recap there, but we wanted to talk about all this cool stuff right now. But there's one other thing before we wrap this up, Jessica. There's gonna be an Ultraman X movie.
Yes. Yep. I saw it announced, but did not read. I mean, the Ultraman Facebook page that I'm on was blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was getting all these notifications of people posting.
Mm.
So what I was going to do this weekend was to go through and read all of people's posts and questions, for fun, because as a community we're supposed to encourage or talk to each other and do it. But yeah, no, I was getting pinged like every couple minutes.
Have you watched any more of X?
I have not had a time to. I'm going to have to, when break is coming up, I have a little bit more downtime during the holidays, just like a couple days. I was just going to binge so much.
As you should. It's awesome. It's pretty much kind of it's turned into just like an all-star extravaganza. After episode, I think it's 5, when Ultraman Zero shows up, just like every other episode, there's like a classic Ultraman showing up, and he's fighting like classic monsters. Pretty much they're doing new things and reusing a lot of suits from previous Ultraman shows just for the heck of it. But they do it in such a way that it's fantastic. There's an episode where he fights Gomez from Ultra Q. And if you don't know, the backstory is on Ultra Q, that first episode, they repurposed one of the Godzilla suits into one of the monsters. So the episode was aired on the 61st anniversary, so Subaraya dusted out the costume they had made for the monster for, I believe, a previous Ultraman, and then they upgraded and gave him laser weapons and shit like that. So he acts a lot more like Godzilla than anything else. And not only that, but there was a 3-parter where he teamed up with Ultraman Jinga and Ultraman Victor that was really cool. It's a fun show. So I believe they're on like 22 episodes right now. In the movie, they're going to have 2, 4, 6, 7. There's gonna be 8 Ultramen altogether in this film. So it's gonna be X, and he's got like a new upgrade form that goes with his Exceed form that he has. It's gonna have the original Ultraman. It's gonna have Tiga. It's gonna have Jinga, Victory, Meebus, Max, and Zero. So pretty much all the modern Ultramen and the classic Ultramen. And there's just going to be a ton of monsters that looks like they're teaming up to fight. So, all good times. Because it's just going to... It's some Ultraman, better than no Ultraman, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, that is true. And I'm glad that Ultraman's really... I mean, obviously it's a character that is always going to resonate with people, but now it's kind of like there's more and more of the character just seeping in. Because I think there's a small resurgence of like Kaiju films and Mecha and Ultraman and Sentai and Tokusatsu and all that stuff. But more like a Western take, because I actually have more friends now who know what it is, because they went to San Diego Comic-Con and they saw that, I believe it was Viz Media, had the new Ultraman manga. So they saw it next to all these other Western things that they had and Viz Media stuff. And so I think it's, you know, it's great because now it has more of a recognition.
And people are just like, what are you watching? Oh, hey, that's Ultraman. And you just go, oh, you know this.
Yeah. Or they were like, Ultraman? Or they'll ask, like, is that the same as Mega Man? I was like, nope, 2 different characters. 2 different peeps. And so,
it's
you know,
there's
all these mans, I don't know.
It's ironic you say that because I posted a video where someone put, like, all the years of Ultraman to the Dr. Wily stage theme. Someone wrote lyrics too, but it's awesome. It's up on our Facebook page. I'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, so on that same note though, Crunchyroll did pick up another Ultraman series that they're going to. I believe they started airing. They picked up Ultraman Meebus. So yeah, Ultraman Meebus. So that's now up for watching. So they're slowly pretty much picking up all the stuff that they can. I got a feeling by the end of next year, like every single Ultra series will be available for you to watch. So I'm finishing up. Once I finish X, I'm gonna go back and finish Leo because I got halfway through that and I ended up stopping. And now I'm just like I need to finish what I have started. So all right, where are we at right now? All right, Jessica, I think we're going to call it a day on this, also because it's kind of late, and I have a party to plan that Jessica has to attend tomorrow.
Yes. Well, it's not, you made it sound like you were like, has to. No, I'm coming. I'm coming on my own free will.
It's like, no, I have some dirty secrets that I'm holding over Jessica's head, so she attend my soiree.
Yes, but I'm excited. I'm very excited. Yeah, so Chris Eaton, our wonderful co-host, is throwing a party together at his place, so I am going. Yes. You should periscope it for those who like are listening but can't be here.
I might. My camera's still busted on my phone, so I might have to do something else for it. I might set up like a laptop and like a webcam and just run off the Ustream. We'll see. We'll see. But on that note, before we go, it is the holiday season. It is. We are about 2 weeks away from Christmas as we record this, Jessica.
Yes, we are.
So we won't be back until after Christmas. So I figured it'd now be a time to wish everyone a happy holiday, depending on whatever your holiday stance is, and pretty much have a great, safe holiday season. We thank you all for listening to us. The people we do know that listen to us. So thanks again. We will be back for one more show to kind of close everything out. There's a few things I want to hit up on, and maybe I'll talk to see maybe we can't get Mark on here to kind of wrap up the year and everything like that, and just have like a big kind of like stuff we didn't get to that I meant for us to get to on all of our previous episodes. So on that note, Jessica, where can the good people find more of our work?
You actually can find our podcast on iTunes. And we are also, I believe we moved over to Realmcast.
We are in the process of that. So, real quick, Panzer Crush is going to be shuttering pretty soon. Mostly because yeah, it was a side site originally created when I went to work with Realmcast, and I pretty much opened this as like stuff we wouldn't at the time we didn't cover on Realmcast, like some deep end anime and a lot of this stuff. And then eventually I just moved all that over to Realmcast, and then I had Panzer Crush kind of just sitting there. And when Jessica proposed doing this this podcast, it's like, oh, I got a website that I'm not using for anything right now. But it turns out it's cost me a lot more money than I can afford right now to kind of be hosting the site. So I have plenty. The RSS feed should be fine because we're on an independent server. But all the stories, all of our episodes are just going to be ported over to realmcast.com probably after the first of the year. So the next episode you hear will probably be the last one on Panzer Crush, as Panzer Crush will be closing down after that. But it's better because it's a better site for our show to be hosted on for the time being. So I will let you know more when that actually starts happening. But I'm starting the process after Christmas. We're waiting until after the holidays get done. But
right.
But yeah.
Right.
So right now, still you can still get it from Panzer Crush, or if you go through iTunes and stuff, that will all remain the same. Don't worry about that. Even though the site's closing down, all your feeds should remain unaffected. So, but on that note, Jessica, besides that, where else can they find us?
Yes, you can also find us on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
We have a page, the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. We're also at Tumblr at Kaiju Kingdom Podcast, and also it is our Gmail, the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast at gmail.com. On Twitter, however, we are just the Kaiju the Kaiju Kingdom. There is no podcast on there. It was a character limit. So that's where you can find us and come talk to us, be our friends, stalk us, disagree or agree with us. We love to read your comments.
We do. And Jessica, where can they find more of your work?
Yes. You can Facebook friend me at Jessica Sang, TSEANG. Please send me an inbox message and say, hey, I heard you with Chris on the Kaiju Kingdom podcast, or we met somewhere, and I would be more than happy to accept your Facebook friend request. It might take me 1 or 2 weeks, but I promise I will do it. Just to, screen out the randos. If you just say hi, then I have no idea where you come from.
Yes.
In your Facebook message. You can also find me on thecomicbookgirl.com and girlongeek.com and littlegeekgirls.com, a site that supports young girls under the age of 12 and all their nerdy and geek interests. So I will have sites in the future that won't have the word girls in them. So something more, catered for everybody, or maybe just a travel blog.
All right. Well, hey, you're doing your stuff is much more valuable than the crap I regurgitate on Realmcast at the time. So you can stop apologizing for putting girl in everything.
No, it's not. No, it's
Jessica.
not a problem. But I get people who think it's only for girls, and I'm like, it's not. It's actually for everyone. But I understand how it could be misleading.
It's called.
You know
branding.
what I mean? So
it's the Jessica Sang brand.
It was easier at the time.
Mm-hmm. It's the Jessica Sang brand. It's like Cobra. you need a universal symbol now. That way everyone knows. And also on that note, again, you can find all my other work over at therealmcast.com. I host a myriad of other podcasts, including a rundown show for The Flash. So if you're watching The Flash, come listen to me rant and rave about it because, oh, God, it's so good. It's so good, Jessica. How do we live in a world where we have a show based on The Flash, we're in season 2, and it could be this awesome?
And it's on the CW, and it's awesome.
I know. And on a network that I had given up all hope for about 4 years ago. And yet, it pretty much, if you watch the Gorilla Grodd episode, you realize it's like, oh, they're probably cannibalizing the budget of a bunch of other shows right now to make sure that this show stays afloat and is as good as possible. I get a feeling like they cut out the back end of Beauty and the Beast. Like they lost 4 episodes just so they can up the CG budget for some of the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah. There's every once in a while there's a scene or moment in Flash where I was like, all All their budget went into that.
Yes. Like Gorilla City.
Oh my
Gorilla
gosh!
City exists, Jessica. Oh, it's so good. You can hear me go wax on poetically about that over at therealmcast.com. All right. Well, that will do it for this edition of the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. It's a short episode, but we'll be back with a long episode in a few weeks. So thanks again for listening. So for myself...
And me. Thank you.
Feliz Navidad, everyone, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Thanks.
Feliz Navidad.